All right, so you're thinking about making a big move, huh?
A huge one.
Packing up and heading to the USA in 2025.
No small feat.
I bet you're feeling a whole mix of excitement and probably a little bit of apprehension too, right?
Definitely understandable with such a life-changing decision.
And I'm sure you've been doing your homework, reading all those articles and reports, trying to figure out if the American dream is all it's cracked up to be.
It can be overwhelming.
Totally overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that's where we come in. You've shared some really interesting sources with us, and we're going to dive deep into them together.
Cutting through all the noise and focusing on what matters most for you.
Right. Let's start with the big picture. The U.S. economy now. The sources we've got here paint kind of a mixed picture, right?
Yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
They're saying there's overall growth projected, but there are also some potential bumps in the road,
Some sectors might be facing some headwinds.
like manufacturing and retail.
Exactly. Those industries are going through some major transformations with automation and shifts in consumer spending.
So if those are the fields you're eyeing, you might want to dig a little deeper,
Absolutely. See if those trends are going to work for you or against you.
because it's not just about whether there will be jobs, it's about whether there will be jobs in your specific field, right?
Precisely.
Now, on the flip side, the sources do highlight growth in some pretty hot sectors, like tech, healthcare, and renewable energy.
Those are definitely areas where we're seeing a lot of innovation and job creation.
But more jobs often means...
More competition.
Right, so you've got to be prepared for that.
And speaking of competition, let's talk about another factor that could make landing that dream job a bit tougher.
Immigration.
Right? The sources suggest that immigration policies might be getting stricter in 2025.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's talk of higher requirements for visas and green cards and potentially even longer wait times.
Wow, so even if you have the skills and qualifications, getting your foot in the door might be a whole lot trickier.
It could be a real hurdle.
That's kind of ironic, isn't it? The USA is supposed to be the land of opportunity, but actually getting the opportunity might be harder than ever.
It's a bit of a paradox.
And it's not just about getting in, it's also about the long game, right? The sources from the Cato Institute mention that wait times for certain employment-based visas could increase by as much as 40% in 2025.
That's a significant delay.
So you really have to factor that into your decision-making process.
Think about how that timeline aligns with your personal goals and ambitions.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the all-important money matters.
The dollars and cents.
Now, the sources don't sugarcoat it, the cost of living in the U.S., especially in those major cities, with all the job opportunities.
It's high,
And it's only going up.
especially housing. That's a major factor to consider.
Like we're talking sticker shock, moving from, say, Lisbon to New York City.
Right. The sources indicate that rent in San Francisco, for example, is about 3 times higher than in Lisbon.
3 times, that's a huge difference.
So even if those tech salaries seem really attractive, a big chunk of your income could be going towards just keeping a roof over your head.
Exactly. And it's not just rent.
Right? It's everything. Groceries, transportation, entertainment, it all adds up.
You've got to make sure that your earning potential actually translates into a comfortable lifestyle.
Otherwise, it might not be worth the move.
Okay, so we've talked about the economic realities, but let's not forget about the less tangible but equally important stuff, quality of life.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's not just about making money. It's about living a good life.
Absolutely. Now, the sources do say that the U.S. offers a high quality of life overall.
But they emphasize that it's very much tied to financial stability.
Makes sense if you're constantly stressed about money. It's hard to enjoy all the good things life has to offer.
So you need to find that balance between earning enough to live comfortably and having time and resources to pursue your passions and interests.
I think that's a really important point because the American lifestyle can be pretty intense, right?
It can be, there's a big emphasis on individualism and long working hours.
So if you're coming from a culture that values work-life balance or a more collectivist approach, it might be a bit of a culture shock.
It's definitely something to be aware of.
So before you make the leap, think about what truly matters to you for a happy and fulfilling life.
What are your non-negotiables?
Because you might have to make some adjustments or compromises to fit into the American way of life.
And speaking of adjustments, let's not forget about the practicalities of actually living in the U.S.
The nitty-gritty details.
Things like taxes, healthcare, and legal processes.
The not so fun, but absolutely essential stuff.
The sources mention that navigating these systems can be pretty complex and challenging for newcomers.
Especially the healthcare system, right?
Yeah, it can be a minefield without insurance, and the sources suggest that premiums are expected to keep rising.
So understanding how it all works is crucial before you make the move.
Fortunately, there are resources available to help you out. Organizations like the National Immigration Forum, they offer a lot of guidance.
And of course, there's always the official U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website.
They've got a wealth of information on everything, from visas to green cards to citizenship.
Okay, so it sounds like it's definitely doable, but you've got to be prepared to put in the time and effort to figure it all out.
Absolutely.
All right, let's shift gears again and talk about some of the more positive aspects of moving to the U.S.
The things that draw so many people to this country.
Opportunity, innovation, that entrepreneurial spirit.
The sources paint a really vibrant picture of a nation that's at the forefront of technological advancements.
It's like being at the heart of where the future is being shaped.
Exactly. The U.S. is predicted to continue leading the way in fields like artificial intelligence, space exploration, and biotechnology.
So if you're passionate about those areas, it could be an incredibly exciting place to be.
You could be part of groundbreaking discoveries and innovations.
Now, of course, no deep dive into the U.S. would be complete without addressing the elephant in the room.
Political uncertainty.
The sources acknowledge that the political climate is volatile right now,
It can feel like things are changing constantly.
and that can have a ripple effect on various aspects of life, from business regulations to social discourse.
It's definitely something to consider, especially if your personal values don't align with the prevailing political winds.
And it's not just political uncertainty, right?
There are also concerns about cybersecurity and internal security.
The sources point out that these are ongoing challenges in today's world.
It's a complex reality.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from the economic landscape to the immigration hurdles to the cost of living to the quality of life to those political and security concerns.
It's a lot to digest.
But remember, this is just the starting point of your research journey.
We've just scratched the surface.
As you delve deeper into these issues and others that are relevant to your specific situation, the key question to ask yourself is this.
Does the potential reward of living in the U.S. outweigh the challenges?
And not just in general, but specifically for you and your aspirations.
Because ultimately the decision is yours.
You've got to weigh all the factors and decide if the American dream is the right dream for you.
It's a big decision.
So keep exploring, stay curious, trust your gut, and good luck on your journey.
You got this.
That's it for this deep dive. See you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.